You good? Can I get a tea? Is that all right? Sorry, the diva in me.
How are you?
Oh, so you timed that?
What? I love a coffee.
How do you have it?
Just white.
You can do that yourself, you know.
I do. Well,
Yeah.
well
No.
if she wants to do it, I'm gonna...
I'd love one actually. Sorry. Could I get a tea with 1 sugar, please?
Tea, 1 sugar.
Yeah, and milk, obviously. Thank you very much.
Do you not drink coffee?
I don't really. IBS.
Okay,
That's good to have on camera. Irritable bowel syndrome. This looks amazing, lads. Thanks for all your work. It's class. We're rolling, are we? We're rolling. Beautiful. I wanted to show you before we started, actually, the photo that Luke sent me.
Oh, yeah.
You need to explain this in a moment. Can you see that? It's him and his family in a sort of Reliant Robin. He looks like Del Boy.
Not Reliant, but Morris Marine.
Well, why don't you come over here and explain it then? Come on. Who's this? The whole family?
Not the whole family. You need a minibus for that.
You've got about 28 brothers, don't you?
It's me driving. That's my brother Ollie, who's now chief feature writer for The Sun. It's been there, I don't know, 25 years. That's the next one down. That's Dominic, who farms where that place is, and the next one down is Giles, who
Cameraman.
Yeah, the cameraman. Yeah.
And then I said to him.
Good-looking family, aren't we?
then I said to him, "You got any more like that?" And he sent me this one of him on the loo reading the rain.
on White Horse Hill. But I tell you what happened. My brother was doing up my house.
Take a seat. You don't have to lean on.
My brother was doing up the house, and we were taking out the bath and the loo. And I said, "Well, let's do something different." He said, "Well, why don't we take it up onto up the Uffington old sort of ancient White Horse Hill?" So we went up there. And then, as luck would have it, there was a camera club up there. And so I'm sat on the bog creek in the racing boat. And then I go, what the hell? Right below the ancient White Horse.
No
It looked quite good, yeah.
That's quite iconic, that spot, isn't it?
Well,
yeah, it is now.
Nice, yeah. Nice place, nice and relaxing.
Got to be thinking about Stanley's. Did you see him as an actor? Have you ever seen him?
I've seen him act a few things, but...
Yeah, he was on a Strongbow advert. Here, let me show you there.
What sort of stories? Just get here on time. What did he say? Push.
Wait there. I'm so bad on my phone, it's ridiculous.
You don't undersell this because this is the best thing I've ever done.
You're about to explain it in a minute.
On time. What did he say? Push. 3 months.
You didn't get the part then?
This was like a massive national advert.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
He looks like, he looks a bit like James Corden before he slimmed down.
He used to be really fat.
Did he?
Tom did, yeah.
Well, he doesn't whisper. He knows.
He used to be really fat. I'm just telling him, come on lads, join us.
Just telling them I used to be large.
Yeah, and predominantly started with your acting career, actually. Did you know about this, his acting career?
Large and very ginger.
Do you want to explain your acting career to us before you made it?
It won't take long. It really won't take very long.
Large, and then when you went on till you started losing weight, that's like a middle-aged man who starts running. You know he's having an affair.
I was just about to say I've started cycling, but
the big reveal now for Lauren.
There's never been this level of domination.
It's only ever Coolmore, Ballydoyle, Godolphin, and
Gosden
big
maybe,
races.
although he's gone quieter.
There's no one else.
So we are currently in a situation where we're reliant on one of the top Irish horses to come over and make it really interesting.
But what about, say, like when I was riding for Nichols and Mackay was riding Pipies and John Joe was flying?
That was a great era. Loved that.
But we didn't call it English domination.
But the reason for that is because
it was English domination and you didn't give a fuck.
How did you get into it then? So acting was your route in?
To this?
Was that what you started as an actor, right?
Yeah, acting and trying to be a punter. And then I was crap at both. I was good. I was all right at cricket, crap at football. Yeah, I wasn't. Acting was just easy.
We played
Just
in-
I didn't have to work hard, so that's why I wanted to do it because it was fun. I didn't have to work hard.
Annual cricket match for charity, raised a good few quid for charity that a friend of ours organised. And it'd been going for like 20 years, and Tom turned up, and he is a good cricketer. And he scored the longest 100. Like, it was a game where, you know, everyone has a go, there's kids playing.
I scored 100. I just like to clarify. I
But
scored 100.
they've now
What's the difference in a long and a short 100?
Well, this was just boring and no one else got a go, right? So they've now cancelled the cricket match. The team that we played against don't ever want to play.
He got a go, but he got out. I think I went in at 4 and...
I think I went in at 4.
I think I
He's
went in
literally
at
got the
4,
scorecard at home frame.
And then we got to, it was one of those games where you declare, the captain has to decide when to declare, and the captain was a friend of ours, so he let me bat on so I could get my 100. I took a bit too long to do it.
4 hours.
At tea, the opposition were fuming because they weren't going to have long enough to get the runs, and it was all very unsavoury after that, and we haven't played the cricket match since. Yeah. But scored 100.
Have you got the scorecard framed?
You got it somewhere.
I've got a good cricket story. I was right. Mr. Frisk had won the Grand National. Then his first run the next season was at Sandown. I was riding this horse with Jeff King, and it had literally had 7-10 or something in the long handicap. But by the time I'd gone out, he'd gone on so much about how jockeys are useless these days. They're bottles, they've got no bottle, they never see a stride, and they never grab hold of one. I was literally like that before I went out on this horse. Anyway, gone down the back, I'd driven it, doing all the way down the back, then returned to the straight. I'm Mr. Frisk just in front of me. Well, I've literally gone bonkers on this horse. Get beat, I don't know, 3 or 4 legs. It's probably time would tell it was 25 legs, but it seemed like that. So I'm back down.
only
in
just there.
Yeah, he's a bit. So we were down in the winners' circle, and the owner's going, "Oh, well done, Luke." Anyway, and I saw this red-faced dervish come down the hill at me. Jeff King. I thought he was going to lay me out. He ruined that horse's career. Went absolutely crazy. Anyway, he luckily didn't hit me. I hadn't seen him then for about 6 months afterwards, and I was playing in Andy Turnell's cricket match. So as I walk in, I've got what my attempt at whites on as I walk into thing, and Kingy looked across and he goes, "Oh, that what begins with C and rhymes with Hunt comes in," and Andy Turnell, who's a barometer of how much he likes someone is how many women they've set with. So he said, "Are we allowed to swear in this?"
Yeah, okay,
all right.
And probably
So
not the C word that rhymes with Hunt, but feel free to be the other one.
So he said, that fucker's turned up in here, and Andy goes, "Oh, you know, he's a great lad." He goes, "He'll fuck anything, you know." And he goes, "I know, he fucked my horse at Sandown."
Didn't forget it.
No, I didn't forget it.
Were you only good at cricket?
No,
You
not
hid.
I feel like I could have answered that. I wouldn't have you down as a cricketer.
I bet you were an all right sportsman.
I was all right, but not cricket. Football,
You didn't play cricket in Ireland, probably, right?
no.
Gaelic.
Gaelic football, yeah. Never hurled. Played a bit of soccer. Rugby. Played a lot of rugby.
What position?
Scrum half.
Really?
I like rugby, yeah.
What time? You probably had to give it up when you were about.
He wasn't going to be second row.
No. Hooker, maybe. Yeah.
I thought I looked more like a basketball player, me. I played till I was 18.
So when you were riding,
Yeah.
who do you play for? Do you play?
Naas, yeah.
Wow.
Played for Naas, played till I was 18. I loved rugby.
Could you have made it?
No. I was fit and I was hard, but I wasn't fucking good enough.
Yeah.
That was all. So under 14, I said North Kildare come out, which is Kilcock and what if surrounding area, fucking red, white and blue jerseys. And there's this mountain wearing number 4, right? Six kick off, 4 catches the ball, down the pitch he comes and there's fucking 3 of us hanging off him and eventually we get him over to the edge but he still falls into the corner and scores a try. So you stand up thinking, where did this fucker come from? Hadn't seen like an under 10, or 12. Next thing your man turns out, takes the ball, trots back to the 22, puts it on the tee, kicks the fucking conversion. Playing second row, right? Thinking, Jesus Christ. So from then on, as soon as 4 gets the ball, there's 10 of us on 4. Down, come back for the return match in Naas, no sign of 4. Thinking, happy days, 4 is gone. 4 has gone to Blackrock College. 4 gets whipped out of club rugby into schools rugby. 4 ends up playing for London Irish and captain London Irish for God knows how many years. It was Bob Casey.
No way.
Played for Ireland.
He was a beast. He was massive.
I can enjoy it.
Yeah,
You never
yeah.
forget it. Look at it.
You had to tackle him.
The bigger they are, the harder they
Isn't it
fall.
amazing? You remember all these, I mean, growing up, you'll always remember like the kid you played against, or there might have been like a good rider or whatever. But speaking of having something framed, this is my favourite time of year because I think you all know this story. I mean, I hope know the story. But good few years ago now, I was doing a preview night in Ireland for Ruby, and I've told this story to you. So I mean, it's the greatest.
I don't even.
Right, I'll tell the lads because they don't know. Right, so you don't like the story because I did what I said.
Include him, no.
I kept it to myself.
Not until like 2 weeks, or not until a few days before the price had gone.
So eight years ago, probably now, so 7 or 8 years ago, it was for Ruby's daughter's school, a preview night, and I did it and flew over.
There was no fee.
No.
Did it for free. That's the kind of man I
We
am.
paid for his flights, that was it.
And then he circled.
And he took it, I bet.
And he circled Black Hercules in the JLT, and he goes, "That's your fee for this evening. I think it's going to run in that race." And at the time, he was favourite for the 4 miler, favourite for the 3 miler, 50-1 for the JLT. So I've got on, and it ended up winning the JLT. To very happy punters and owners, because he went off favourite, right? He was
Very,
smashed up.
very happy.
You were
punters.
delighted for me.
Very happy punters and owners.
But it went off 9-2. But I ran to the winners' enclosure to greet him coming in. And you rode how many festival winners?
He was number 50.
He was number 50, right? And as he comes in, he's doing that. And all the photographers and the press are going like this. And all the press and photographers are going, "God, that's amazing, like he knew it was 50." So when he jumps off, everyone goes, "Number 50 meant a lot to you." But he was looking at me going 50-1 when he came in. And
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
You were doing the 50 to him.
50-1, he's going
Did you know it was your 50th winner?
Yeah, I done that interview at the top of the track with Topper.
Yeah, I don't think I was there. Yeah, I think it was.
No,
Channel
you
4
weren't
at the
working,
time.
you.
No.
Because we'd have
was.
we have chats in the build-up to obviously every year at Cheltenham with all the horses you're going to back, what you're going to back, and this one was just not mentioned until it was a bit of a
Yeah,
guilt.
but
It was a guilty
yeah.
message. You were like, actually, I'm
Yeah.
on Black Hercules at 50-1.
I can keep a secret. Anyway, my point is that this time of year I always ask you for because you've got a lot of credit in the bank and you haven't given me a winner since. But can you?
What year was that?
It was 7 years. More. But it's a 50-1 winner, so he's got.
Fucking retired fighter. Some judge at Ruby.
Yeah.
1974, he got a great winner.
His level stakes profit is still very healthy. So what's the Mullins one for Cheltenham this year?
I had John St. Roy in the wrong race, hadn't I?
Sorry?
I had John St. Roy in the wrong race.
Yeah,
You quite often have something in the wrong race.
Yeah.
Or I tell you what you're very good at. You're very, very good
Rugby?
at yeah. You're very good at tipping a Willie horse in the bumper that then goes on to be a very good horse
Yeah.
but doesn't win the bumper.
Finishes
or
fourth
wins
in the bumper.
wins the Punchestown bumper quite often,
Yeah.
but doesn't win the Cheltenham bumper.
Chosen.
I think it's a backhanded sort of compliment. Is that
Tornado
you're a good
Fly was
tipster.
another one.
Tornado.
3 races
Fly.
in advance.
Yeah.
I backed Argento Boy this year in the bumper.
Argento boy.
Yeah, I think he'll win the Alaparta.
Right. But we've backed him in the bumper this year.
Yeah.
Sorry, as in.
And the filly Fleur Facile, is that?
Florida for sale, yeah.
Yeah.
So what have we got this year?
Argento Boy.
In the Albert
Yeah,
Perfect.
Okay. Is it 50-1?
I wouldn't think so.
He's never. Every price is now 3-1, by the way. But we'll take it.
He ran stink at Punchestown. He ran poor at Cheltenham and then ran bad back at Punchestown. So he's probably a fair price, yeah.
What I slightly worry about though is that for the smaller trainer, I mean, you're obviously in the Mullins camp, right? So you're enjoying the incredible success you're having. But like, to someone starting out, you look on the flat. Aidan O'Brien wins everything invariably. Willie wins everything over jumps. If you're saying to someone, "Go on, try and make it in horse racing," you'll go, "I've got absolutely no chance." Like, it is a bit.
shite. You talking now? So what happened when Martin? But he's actually no memory. Like, so when you started, then Henry Sessom was winning everything on the flat.
There always is.
What did your uncle do?
But then every sport.
Fuck,
But
I don't
then-
take him on.
but there's
When Martin
never-
Pipe was winning everything.
There's never been this level of domination, has there?
Oh,
I mean, you
I
can't
don't know.
compare, say, Sessa on the flat then to what Willie's doing now
What
over
did Willie
jumps.
Mullins do this year that hadn't been done for 74 years?
But the other thing is, there's always going to be like, there's
He
always.
emulated what Vincent O'Brien did.
Yeah, Vincent
So it
O'Brien,
has
yeah.
been done. Like, people say it's the big wheel. People forget, yeah, it is a wheel. It has been done before.
Okay, maybe I'm a bit more Robin Hood in my sort of mentality, but do you think, I mean, obviously I'm pretty sure I know your answer.
You could never be Robin Hood.
He looks like Robin Hood.
What's your third name again?
Wentworth, Oliver Stewart Bell, the Robin Hood of this group.
Yeah. What was the name of the council estate you were brought up on?
He was inside with the sheriff, like. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, now I'm out here playing town.
All right,
Robin Hood.
maybe Robin
Rough
Hood
side of
wasn't
the
the
track.
best analogy.
When you were fat, you could have been Friar Tuck. You see what I mean?
We have Robin Hood and Friar Tuck on the
Yeah,
table.
there we go. Yeah, done.
Personally, I think the domination, this is taking nothing away from what Willie's doing. I would like to see a series, bit like for amateur jockeys, where if you've trained 5 winners, 10 winners, you can, enter into that race. If you're Willie Mullins, because there is not much prize money to go around, and Willie farms it at the top end, and every time I see prize money increase in the Grade 1, in the Group 1, that's going to go to Coolmore, probably to Willie, Rich Ritchie, his owners. But the people at the bottom aren't getting any of that ecosystem really, and they're really struggling at the bottom. So if we don't look after the bottom, then there won't be a stepping stone to get to the top.
Surely sport, we were talking about sport, surely sport is about winning. People say, oh, you could have picked up some prize money for your second there. You don't own a horse to finish
Of course, but
second.
for a lot of people, they don't have a chance of winning because they can't
penalise the ones that are winning?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I suppose you could say you're penalising them by not allowing them to run in the race, but I'm not saying every meeting should have have once a month have a
I've never won
race.
anything in life, but I'd like to. That's what you should be out there to do. You should always want to win, surely.
But people don't have a chance.
They're doing it in Ireland now, aren't they? They've stopped. Has that come in now, or are they appealing it? They're appealing it.
The races. I wouldn't agree with it at all.
No, me.
I think you have to go back to the very bottom. So there has to be money in horse racing. There is. We know there is. The sport that we look at, that we're talking about, that's in Cheltenham this weekend, that was in Taunton this afternoon, is the sport. What fuels it is the industry. There's millions in the industry. So what has happened with horse racing? How many times now, from when you started riding to a horse now, are they traded before they get to a track, compared to when I was young or when you was young?
Yeah.
So there is millions in the industry,
Sure.
but the sport doesn't have it. So where's it all going on?
But the people who are buying the best ones, like Willie, Coolmore, they farm the whole ecosystem really. They're getting the best horses.
They're buying the ones at the very top that have been turned over once, twice, 3 times and have been filtered down to show you that, by the way, instead of spending 50,000 on 10 unbroken stores, if you let you buy the 10 of them, or us between us, one of us might get lucky and get $500,000 for it.
But didn't you say something to me on the blower about having like a sort of
but you
league
could,
system?
but it should be, like, racing should be 3 days to count, or 4 days to count, and then 3 days that you, on the other side of the week. So say if you go 4 Division 2, 3 Division 1, but every horse has to start, not trainer, horse has to start in Division 2, and you qualify for the 3 better days.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
If you
because
measure it
you're
on the horse, that makes
Always on
sense
the
rather than
always
the
on
trainer.
the horse. But to add to the point that, say, Wrexham, if you throw a bit of cash at it, well, every trainer, so if you go to the sales and what you buy is what's in your yard, what the investors you have, and that's where you start. So you buy 10 horses that off different trainers that are half well handicapped, and you train 10 winners. You want to get more investment.
Yeah.
But isn't it easier when you think about it? Dan Skelton is going to probably be champion trainer this year. And he set his stall out because he was so miffed about beating last year. And he's cleaned up all through the summer. Well, if the championship didn't start till, you had a summer championship and then the proper championship, basically same sort of thing. Well, yeah, it might be, but it still gives, you're on about giving people, further down the ladder a chance. They're still winning and losing, but it wouldn't be competing. Skelton wouldn't have any runners during the summer if that was the case.
I just know from having syndicates with my mates who don't really know much about racing, when you go, right, give us 2
You get on
grand.
well then.
The opposite of Robin Hood, robbing from my mate. But you're going here, pay 2 grand. Oh, by the way, we're going to be running it wherever. I mean, I know that it's a biggest conversation about prize money. We're not going to go into that now. But they don't win because they're coming up against a horse that's just so much better, that's been bought by a better buyer, that's been trained by Willie Mullins. And you go, well, what hope have we got? And then you lose, but then you lose those people out of the sport forever. And we're trying to find.
You don't. I would say to you is, what the fuck did you go to a bad agent and a bad Jennifer?
Because Harold Kurt's not going to take my phone call. He's
But
going
there's loads of other agents. So you, to me, then have misspent your friend's money. Well, my problem would be with you for getting them out.
He's good at that.
Why didn't you buy something that was... You bought the wrong horse, Ollie.
Yeah, but by
Take the blame. Be responsible.
I'm going to. I mean, to be honest, it was my uncle who trained the horse.
There we go.
By the way, that is a fucking stinker because we had a horse called Banzari, and at the same time, Hugo Palmer was selling me, trying to sell me Covert Love.
Yeah.
But my uncle went, "You got to come with me on family." So I put my £3,000 in with a couple of mates to Banzari.
And you could have bought Covert Love.
What did they sell there?
And this is all Willie Mullins' fault.
We've gone down a tangent. I thought you'd be slightly more on my side. I just think we need to be mindful of the bottom and people coming into the sport, and we need to incentivise it for them.
Right, so hang on. Who started at the bottom?
I'm not saying this is Willie Mullins'
hang
fault
on.
at
No,
all.
answer the question. You started the
Well,
argument.
Willie
Go on.
Mullins.
Right. Where did Gavin Cromwell start at the top?
Everyone starts at the bottom.
All right, they all started at the bottom.
It's
But now,
wasn't it?
they all started at the bottom, but now we're going to... Why exactly do you want to do? All these people started at the bottom, so why can't everybody else start at the bottom?
There is a very dominant force in both flat and jumps racing that are cleaning up, basically. I think it's important
How
for
did
us.
they get there?
So rather than putting an extra 200 grand into the Ryanair, put 200 grand into class 4 and 5 handicaps across the board. That 2 grand will help the training fees for a year. It will make people want to stay in the game because they're not always shelling out. And whether they get to the top or not is kind of irrelevant. It's the fact that they're getting a return on their investment rather than just burning money up the wall. each
Right,
year.
so we'll put 200 grand into the Vauxhall Conference. How does that help the coffers of the media rights money for the Premier League, for English soccer? How does putting prize money into bad horses, what does that do?
Well, there is that. I do see that counter argument. That if you're funding bad horses, then it
What does it
yeah,
encourage you to do?
buy bad horses.
Yeah.
But on the flat, the Sunday Series has done that to an extent, and it has worked because you have had a greater variety of people getting their hands on a bit more prize money. But I think you can do it in the flat. I think you struggle more in jumps because you don't have as many horses, and I don't think we can compare flat and jumps as well as far as dominant trainers go. I know there are dominant forces on the flat, but I don't think they quite compare to the amount of dominance that Mullins has over jumps. I mean, Coolmore have rivals. Willie doesn't really currently. He is so far and away, I think, currently on the top end. He's got rivals, but
what would you call Gordon Elliott, Gavin Cromwell and Henry Drummond?
Competitive.
but they can't serve it up to Willie on a regular basis at the business end of the season. At the moment, they can't.
But do you not think that they are aspiring to do that?
Of course, 100%. Yeah, I'm just saying that Mullins is such a dominant force now, to the like which recency bias I know, but I don't really think we've seen before. Whereas on the flat, it's more of a level playing field amongst the top end, I think, than what Willie's achieved right now.
You think about when you're doing your job and you're trying to interview people, it's only ever Coolmore, Ballydoyle, Godolphin, and
Gosden
big
maybe,
races.
although he's gone quieter.
There's no one else. There's no one, literally you say that, there's no one else in those top races, in those group races, they're the only ones.
And also, when you are interviewing them, the like every man and woman stories are amazing.
Well, it's easy to interview John Gosden because he answers he does the questions out and answers them.
And then when we do get a good one, like Constitution Hill, we don't see the thing. With that's, I mean, everyone will have a view about that. I understand welfare is important. You're obviously in Nicky Henderson's.
That's welfare, isn't it?
No, as in you're not going to run a horse that's not 100%, right? Like, like if the horse is scoping bad, you're not going to run him. I understand that.
Everyone's striving to get their horse there. He's got to have the best of the best. And when he runs, it's especially something like Constitution Hill, he might come back with a problem, but he hasn't gone there with anything wrong with him. And where do you run a horse like that?
But Willie would never shy away from running one. That is one thing I would say to Willie, is he always, and he had that brilliant interview with Nick where he said,
Well, if he's ill, you can't run
no,
it, can you?
that's what I mean, and that's where welfare is.
Well, it's not welfare, it's just ill, isn't it? It's not.
As in, people are crying out to see Constitution Hill in action, going, oh, this is boring, the best horse we've got on these shores, and we've seen him once in the last 18 months. But obviously, if he's not right, you're not going to run him. But
he didn't run at Sandown in the rearranged fighting fifth last year because of the ground. That was where he was there, ready to go. He just didn't run because of the ground. And Nicky took most of his horses out. I think he ended up running one or two.
It's a real shame.
But
I think
he didn't run because of the ground.
And you go, this horse is unbelievable. You know that. Your team have seen the back end of him with State Man. Oh, but we're going to see him once. And you're trying to say, look at this exceptional horse. This is the pinnacle of the sport. This is what a great champion hurdler can be. Oh, you're not going to see him again until 2025 or whatever it is.
Surely the reason he didn't run him really is because of the fact that he wanted to get him to Cheltenham 100%. Whereas it doesn't. The flat, you have more points during the season, more targets during the season. I think and in particular in Nicky's mind, Cheltenham is everything. So he's turning up to Sandown, going, it's heavy ground. I don't want to risk him on heavy ground. I'm not going to run him because that might bottom him for the season. As it turned out, we didn't see him at Cheltenham anyway.
But then there's too much focus on. I mean, this is the
far too
conversation
much,
people
but-
have. Do you think that? You don't think there's too much focus? Oh, right, time to ask him a question. Tell us now. Put another bit in.
It's not even hunger, it's just because it's free.
Yeah. I bought them actually.
Did you?
Greg's sausage
Well,
rolls,
that's
yeah.
good.
Gee, that's very nice.
Robin Hood.
There we go.
Why is there too
We
much
Weaver's discount card, did you?
I'm throwing that to the floor. I don't necessarily think there is. For me, I think it's the best 4 days in our sport, and I think it's when it's on the back pages, on the news. I think we should. I actually probably would be the minority that wanted a 5th day of Cheltenham, to be fair, because
Extra day rate.
basically because there's only
You know him.
You all know me, yeah. There's only so many days that sport gets sort of mainstream coverage. Cheltenham, it does that. The Grand National, it does that, arguably in recent years for negative reasons. But why not maximise that exposure by having an extra day? But people would say, oh, you're thinning out the programme. You don't think there's too much focus? I keep asking him questions.
Not
when he
on
puts
Cheltenham,
sausage
but
roll in.
I wasn't in favour of a 5th day. No way.
No.
Because it would dilute the programme?
Yeah, it's like anything. I mean,
We're struggling to fill 4 days.
like the Olympics, you could just go back to say to the Olympics. The Olympics is incredible, but how many sports in it do you not watch? You look at the Olympics now, he's been an Olympian because you're a breakdancer. What does that do when you're a track Olympian? Does that lessen the merit of it?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I mean,
I think it slightly does. So, unfortunately, if you keep expanding Cheltenham, you lessen the merit of the 4 days that it is. But there has to be an aim and a goal. And I can understand people here saying, oh, it's too much focus on Cheltenham, too much all about Cheltenham. I'm not sure it is. I think every other day has its place and it matters. And the journey from where we are now in November all the way to March, I think it's an incredible journey. It goes from here to Haydock and Ascot, and then it's Newbury, Sandown, back to Cheltenham, Ascot, Kempton, Warwick in January. The season...
But they're only invariably sort of 1 to 4 favourites that are just going to win before Cheltenham. You're not getting clashes or matchups, barring the King George, probably.
I suppose you won't get it. I suppose.
And so from a punting point of view, from a betting proposition, it's not very appealing.
The Betfair Chase can be a shite race. It's always a shite race. The Tinga Creek can be a shit race. It's always a shit race.
Did you think that when you were winning them on Cortez?
No, just according to him. They're all 1 to 4 to count. The Coral Trophy in Newbury, another shit race. You know what I mean? Fugitive beats Ilvadoto, a short head in Cheltenham National, a shite race. All 1 to 4 favourites. What are you on about?
do you watch racing?
Yeah, really. Like, you know, standing over the track waiting to do the jockey's interview. Have you watched the fucking race?
There are obviously examples of good races.
But the
Of
bulk
course.
of competition, which is what you say, the
But you
bulk of
cannot-
competition happens at Cheltenham, and
That is where the Irish horses meet the English horses.
that's when the Irish come over. Now, if,
But that is what's always happened.
yeah.
A lot of the time, there are short price favourites who are in forerunner fields because they're too frightened to take each other on until Cheltenham.
In what?
Novice chases.
But we're
novice hurdles.
also suffering right now in the UK. One of the reasons for it now in the UK is because the lack of top class
I
horses
get it.
right at the top end of the UK programme. So we're waiting for the Irish to come over for the quality. So I mean, you know, the top rated chases in the UK at the moment are
Like when Arkle beat
a fair bag of
Millhouse
shite
in a
at the moment.
4-horse race, and then was after that claimed to be the best horse has ever been.
This is
So
why we've
it
got
wasn't-
Luke
that
on
wasn't-
for the sort
that
of
wasn't a bad-
1940s race.
He beat Millhouse when there was runners. I think he beat 6 horses to win his next 2 Gold Cups.
I think it was even less than one. Yeah,
He had 5 runners in one, I think.
But we're still reliant on the pre-Cheltenham clashes being good. Like the Clarence House, for example, we've had 2 or 3 really good renewals of that because Willie's sent the top one over. And that's what's made the difference. So we are currently in a situation where we're reliant on one of the top Irish horses to come over and make it really interesting, because our horses at the top end just aren't good enough. And that's not going to change going forward, because look at the Grade 1s at Cheltenham over the last couple of years. Ireland have won it 12-2 and 10-4 in the last 2 years, because ultimately they have the very best horses, and unless they come over, the British racing programme isn't as exciting.
How long ago was it? And it wasn't actually that long ago that we used to win everything at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
And it goes on, comes
of course
round,
it does.
doesn't
Yeah. Even back 10 years ago, it was nothing like this, was it? The Pressbury Cup was half exciting.
Well,
That's the biggest certainty. That's the tip you should give me. But betting turnover funds the sport largely when there are uncompetitive races. If you speak to any odds compiler in a bookies, James Knight's quite vocal about this on Twitter, for example, from Coral. You speak to any of them, they say there's just not the turnover now in races because they're small fields, short price favourites, and it's going to have long-term damage to the ecosystem of the sport.
So the answer is, how do you solve that problem? And that problem will never be solved, because to solve that problem you need people at the top who don't have a vested interest. And unfortunately in this sport, when you go to, would there be 9 different bodies would have a say on a decision like that? Everyone with a vested interest. The race courses won't want to give away fixtures, the Trainers Association won't want to give away races because it'll lessen their chances to win, the Jockeys Association will want X, the stable staff will want Y, the bookmakers will want W. Everybody has a vested interest. Is there anybody running the sport here who doesn't have a vested interest?
Well, the trouble is there's too many people with an interest. That's the trouble.
That's what I mean.
You want someone at the top. Whether when we're working on television, you might not agree with what the editor says or the producer, but you can't have everyone say no. Let's try that. You need someone to say. You can slag him off afterwards, as you always do. But
if you had someone in control here, and someone in charge, and it's going to happen in Ireland too, even though they do have HRI, their fixture list is still going that way. But when you look at a fixture list that's expanding, the first place you have to look is at the number of stock on the ground. So the foal crop is shrinking in Ireland and England. In England, it's fallen out the side of a cliff. The foal crop in Ireland is shrinking, yet the fixture list is expanding and we're getting more races. And then we're sitting here saying, this is shit because they're all 3-runner races.
Yeah.
Well, we ain't got the horses.
Yeah.
So if you then, because the race course, then you say at the race courses, if you want to cut 50 fixtures, no way, we own the fixtures.
And that's the race courses wanting racing.
We own the fixtures.
And that comes back to the media rights, because
can't do that.
They're too well in with the media rights because they just want to put racing on. Put racing on, exactly.
Right, so you even look at today, there's a 2-runner chase in Taunton, 0 to 120 novice handicap chase over 2 miles and 2. There's a 0 to 120 novice handicap chase for Market Racing as well. There's 6 in that. Yeah. So there's 2 in one and 6 in the other, instead of having one race of 8.
So while you've got 2 people on the BHA board of directors from the RCA, nothing's going to change, because they are not going to be incentivised to change in any way, shape or form, because they want as much racing on their race courses as possible. So it's not going to change.
And they'll argue that if I lose one race meeting, it'll close down the track, that we can't afford to lose a meeting from any race course. But that is a simple problem. But you've got to go back to the very beginning. If you only breed X amount of foals, you only need Y amount of racing. Mm-hmm. And that solves it all.
It needs something radical, though.
Of course it needs something radical, but it's never going to happen because there's too many people invested.
I get so deflated.
But it's a bit like natural selection.
I kind of agree, but it's deflating.
It's a bit like natural selection, though, isn't it? When there are so many people breeding originally from absolute rubbish mares, they go, "Oh, it's an absolute lunatic, nearly killed the jockey. I'll tell you what, we'll put her in foal." That's a really good idea, isn't it? Let's breed another one. I mean, and so. I think in the end it's a bit like sort of they shot red kites to extinction. Now they reintroduce them. Now they're a menace. So it's just the way that things are. It'll go down to a certain point. It'll reach ground zero, and then it will start to grow again. I'm sure of it.
How long ago did you retire from riding?
I don't know, 20, 30 years ago.
How many winners did you ride?
Not many.
Do you know the number?
No, about 300.
Really? Can we Google that, please, Steph?
I feel like you knew the number.
No, I don't know. I'm going to double check it. But the question I have is, do you think racing's in a better place now than when you stopped riding?
Oh, I hate it when people say, people quite often, I meet sort of people I knew when I was riding, they say, "Oh, it's not like it used to be. Oh, yeah, we used to turn up pissed all the time, not fit." and having a laugh. But it didn't matter because everyone was pissed having a laugh and not fit. Whereas now they're much fitter, and the game's looked upon as being more professional. But I don't think it was any better. There are a lot of trainers. There are a lot of gentleman trainers. If you say, I start off with Captain Tim Forster, Fort Warwin, I know Fred Winter, but they used to have a boutique number. We never had more than 60 horses. We only had 61 boxes. And they're all those trainers, they just had a boutique. Whereas, I don't know, I bet Willie's got 300, Gordon Elliott would have 215, Paul Nicholls. Even if they say we only train 150, they might have 150 there. They'll have 150 down the road in two other pre-training yards. So they'll have 150 that are ready to rock and roll the whole time.
I feel like I've been a bit negative today.
You have?
No,
I love the
there's
sport.
loads wrong, but we'll turn up to Cheltenham these 3 days coming up at the November meeting, and Sunday afternoon it'll feel great. It'll feel awesome, and we'll be like, this is so healthy, this is brilliant. It felt like that in October.
You'll turn up in Haydock next Saturday or at Ascot, and you'll feel the very same way for the Coral Hurdle and that the Amlin Chase, where you go to the Betfair Chase. You'll rock up in Newbury the following weekend. It'll be heaving. You'll go the following weekend. You'll be back in Cheltenham. You know what I mean? At Tingle Creek even. Sandown will be buzzing. It will, but that is the one showcase event per week, which is the weekend. Where we seem to have got hung up is trying to make the rest of it, the other days, match up to that. But there isn't a sport in the world that can provide marquee all the time. The Premier League now does it because they divided all the matches through the week. But there's 10 Premier League fixtures a week. There's still not 10 box office fixtures.
No. Yeah,
They might
Crystal
sell
Palace
out-
on the telly the other day.
They might sell out stadiums and they'll have loyal fans and a core fan base and they'll get viewers, but there is definitely huge peaks and troughs with the Premier League showing what they're showing as well. And when racing, what we're trying to do is, especially with maidens and novices, like we're selling underage sport and trying to convince people this is what you should be watching. This is a 2-year-old maiden with 15 runners, none of them have ever run, but by the way, this is out of this and it's by that.
Oh, this will be a race worth looking back on. Oh, look back at this one. You'll see some come out of that. So that's one of your stock phrases, isn't it? In years to come, we're thinking,
I've got set lines, they're on here.
But that's grassroots. Every horse should start at the grassroots, be it whatever 4 days of the week they are, and they should be qualifying for the 2 or 3 better days racing a week. And the best racing then would be more competitive, put the more prize money into it. It doesn't all have to be 150 over jumps or 100 plus on the flat, but you should have 4 days for basic money that is grassroots, and every horse then qualifies into the better days, be it Saturday and Sunday or Friday and Saturday, whatever it is, and then you drive that at the people. It's what they do in Japan, it's what they do in France, it's what they do in every other country with loads of racing, and they make the best better.
They have a tote betting system there.
I know that, but they make their best racing better, and the rest of it feeds in. We don't feed in here; we just keep taking out.
I think loads of our negativity in this country, though, is surrounded by the quality of horse we have. And we're always looking, particularly over jumps, you're always looking, going, they're not as good as they used to be. Our chasers aren't as good as they used to be. Where are our good young horses coming through? You had good UK novices winning at these meetings, but in the back of your mind going, that's going to get stuffed at Cheltenham when the Irish come over. And that's why I think that's where a lot of mine comes
That
from.
Valgrind shit up at I know he's...
Yeah.
And he was 50 to 1 in the anti-post market for a Supreme or whatever it was, because they know that Willie's going to bring out... I personally, when you say it like that, it makes total sense to me. Me and you two were lucky enough to ride horses and big race wins, etc. But like... for me and you, I remember when you did your screen test or whatever it was, this is going back 15 years ago now, we are just...
what widescreen was it?
Yeah,
Not reliving my school days. Do you know I was banned from the rugby team because I was too heavy.
Really?
Yeah.
How heavy were
From
you?
a rugby team.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, well, I was.
Why have you waited until half an hour in after the rugby
I just
competition?
reminded myself when I blocked out when I was 11. We had a weigh-in. No, it was my last year at primary school. Yeah, I was too heavy.
Well, how heavy were you?
In case you fell on someone.
I must over 11 stone or over 12 stone, whatever it was.
How old were you?
11.
Wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't allowed to play. I remember
Did you have
the.
overactive thyroid or something?
Oh no,
Yeah,
I just
overactive fridge.
overactive mouth. I know I was banned. It was like I mean, what if I'd have known about how you lose weight quickly? Because I knew what the level was. I should have, I could have just sweat in the bath. I remember the weigh-in, and I was like £3 over. I could have if I'd have just shed £3, I'd have been
It could
all
have been
right.
very different. If you got made weight, you could have been a rugby
I'd say
player.
2 pints of water would have done. Day before.
2 pints of water.
3 or 4, sorry.
What was that?
Just would have flushed them out.
You drink water and then
Yeah.
piss it
But
out.
drinking water makes you heavier, no?
No, it would the day. So the day before, if you just drank 3 or 4 pints of water and ate nothing, you would have just flushed yourself out. Because if you were that heavy, you had a lot of stuff in you that you don't need.
They all say that people do these fasting for like 72 hours now as some like health thing that you're meant to do.
A bloke came up to me at the races the other day at Huntingdon, and he was an ex-amateur jockey, and he was telling a story about how he lost 22 pounds in 8 hours. But that's bollocks, right? That's bollocks.
With a surgeon.
So I didn't want to call him out because he had a bit going on and he wasn't very healthy. But I was nodding away, thinking that's bollocks. You can't do 22 pounds in 8 hours. You do 8 pounds in 22 hours, but you can't do 22 pounds in 8 hours, can you?
No.
No.
Well,
You'd be dead.
So you've waited till you're here to call him out. You
Yeah.
pathetic little weasel.
I didn't want to say. It was all being very positive and lovely. You can't
Stone and a
you
half.
can't do that in 8 hours.
No chance.
saw a lad lose a stone, all right, but fuck me, he was shook looking.
You'd see when I was riding, you obviously had saunas then, but you'd see jockeys going there that are the skinniest people you've ever seen, and they're in there for an hour and a half trying to take off a pound, because your body, they just
There's
doesn't have
nothing
it
to
in.
take off, right?
But yet they'd go out. Hugh Davis was a prime example. He was down to his absolute minimum. He would sweat, and it would take him so long just to lose that pound. But I'll tell you what, you get out on the track, there'll be no one stronger in a finish than him. Oh no, he's absolute.
I always
because
think
your
it's really bad for your body, aren't you?
your body gets
Dehydrated and
used.
weak.
Your body, it's an amazing thing.
Really?
People always say that, they say, oh, the saunas, they're so bad for you. The poor jockeys, they're so thin. They're doing a physical job. And you're thinking, well, is it better to be fat then? What, you'd rather be fat? That's healthier than being skinny, is it?
There's a line, though, isn't there? It's not like they're going to turn
Well,
into
no, but they're
a
not.
beast.
They can't be that bad. They're doing one of the most. If you see against other sports, when they go up to the hospital in Liverpool, when they do the training,
Yeah.
the jockeys are as good as any athlete.
Yeah, they're unreal.
And so it's an extremely physical job. And if you weren't up for it, you wouldn't be able to do it.
No, you were sitting in the sauna and you'd be looking at that fella that was trying to lose the pound. And you kind of look at him thinking like, does he not realise that bones won't sweat?
Really, literally nothing on them.
No, tonight, you'd be looking at him thinking like, poor fucker. Like,
This meeting, I remember McCoy. I'm trying to think of the name of the horse, but he did
Lady
10 stone.
Cricket.
No, there was a one.
pink colours, white stripy sleeves.
It was in the hurdle, and it was one name, and he literally, I promise you could have fitted 2 golf balls in his cheeks. I have never seen a human being look that bad.
Did it win?
No, got beat. Just got beat. Oh yeah, he did.
Gas, he'd be sweating out to do 10 stone. It no more carried 10 stone. There's about 10 forward his back.
So he had a telly in his. Well, Ruby got to the house. The telly put into the wall of his bath so that he could lie in the
Sit in it
bath
and
and
sweat.
sweat.
He had a sauna in the
Yeah.
house in Kingston Isle, and I'd swear I was in it more than he was.
Really?
Yeah, he never used it. But sauna in the house, he used to sweat in the bath. I think the sauna was
That
just
sounds
there
terrific
for-
because the bath must have to be like 100 degrees, boiling. I hate getting
No,
into hot water.
it
but
wouldn't. Once you get used to sweating in the bath, you turn on the tap and you start sweating.
When I get out of a hot bath,
I hate it. It's
I'm
makes me
like,
dizzy.
whoa, I have to go and lie down, towel on the bed, lie flat down, sometimes fall asleep. Could let go and run in a race.
Presenter, actor, jockeys.
If I don't eat I was trying to do that 16/8 fasting. I got to midday, I was all wobbly.
yeah.
Wobbly.
My flatmate
can't
did
do
that
it.
72-hour fast. He literally fainted after like a day and a half, where you just drink broth or something. You just drink. Anyway, it was not good for him. And he didn't need to lose weight. He just will.
He's got that look, as if.
Soft.
yeah. You know him
He's
well.
pathetic,
At work. Yeah.
soft.
I'll tell him that.
But, it's because I'm not used to it.
So, November meeting then. Are you working?
I am, yeah.
You're working.
you?
I'm not working. No, I'll be.
Have you, so you've taken it off?
No, they've stood him down.
No. I've been focusing on this.
I thought you were the. I thought you were like the. I thought you were like the
He,
second.
he won't care. If he's not on, he won't watch it. He'll be at home going, oh,
I'll be
look
texting
at that.
him.
What a
Have
terrible
they done that
interview that
in
was.
you?
Oh, fast forward
Shit
it.
analysis from
Oh,
me.
here we go. Ruby's being critical about everybody again. Here we go.
But I will be.
Big
Shut up,
idiot.
you clown. I will be watching at home, and I want a winner. So, have you got a best bet for me for the week? We should do a leaderboard. If this takes off, when this takes off, we should track our SP.
I thought Buddy Wood was too big tomorrow. He was 4-1.
Right.
It's the outside. That was the outsider, the
I thought
forerunner.
he was too big a price. I think he's a fair horse. I thought tomorrow was hard enough from a punting point of view.
I don't know. I looked at it. I think I not like every favourite just about.
Yeah.
I like that Potter's Charm.
Yeah, it's
I
twisted.
thought-
Definitely take that on. I think it's overrated.
Really?
Do you?
It hasn't been impressive. Neither of its runs.
That's what I like about him. I think
The
he's
front
got
two
loads
pulled
more.
miles
I
clear
think he
the
gives
other day.
something else a chance and then goes again.
What is that? 2.5?
2.5. See that Val Grand over 2.5. I think Gail Marlow might reverse the form.
2.5. I think she's crying out for it.
17
Who,
eighths
Gail
might
Marlow?
be.
Yeah.
They went no gallop, did they?
No, they went no, and he's,
went hard in
she's got a
Galway.
£5 swing.
There's a horse runs in a handicap hurdle on Saturday called Thanks for Your Help of David Pipes, a JP horse, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at that.
It's off 100. It's off 117
line
now.
one up in that race?
So Dave Pipe, the trainers are creatures of habit. So his old man always used to try and land a punt there. I was looking at this horse today. He's I don't know, I think he's 10-1 at the moment. He was one of £10 higher than he's running off. He had a run round Utoxeter the other day, and I don't think he was that tired when he finished.
Right.
And I just don't know. He
just got a bit far back.
Yeah. I just get the impression that could be an absolute smash-up job.
They always line one up.
I've done a preview this morning and put it up. I completely agree. I copied you. Yeah, it's and also he's had a few winners in Pipey.
He's 25%.
They're getting better. The
That's well in.
Noble Birth.
Noble Burr. Gavin Cromwell's.
There's the forecast.
Yeah.
Noble Birth. Thanks for the help.
That'll be a big price win if it kick things off, if that comes in.
I'm going to back 2 Harry Durham horses over the weekend. First start in a handicap as well because.
You're on the Imagine train in the Paddy Power.
I'll back that because it's first start. I'm also going to back Teddy Blue in the Greatwood
He said he'd love the ground.
because I'm doing something right first start in handicaps.
I like not Lotus Sud, Ian Rodotto.
Il Rodotto.
I thought Fugitive
He's
would
found the
run
weights,
well in.
isn't he now?
Yeah.
I thought Fugitive when I first glanced at it, and then you go in. Il Rodotto's lobbed in compared to Fugitive on a run last year, I think.
Yeah, Brian
and Freddie
Rode.
takes off.
Yeah,
weight.
Brian rode Il Rodotto here in the December.
That's it.
Handicap chase.
Just up there.
Fugitive beat him a short head. There's some swing in the weights there.
Yeah. Was that a stone that difference?
He was
now?
third the stage star last year, first run. He had a run in Chepstow.
I like Il Rodotto.
Bit like the horse of Pipe, he's looked like he was just a bit far back and had a bit of running left
Right.
after.
And they've all taken a step forward, Nichols is this year.
On that, getting a bit too far back, have you seen that Bo Morgan ban?
Yeah.
Have you see?
No, I didn't see it.
Okay.
We watched it
That
a
was-
minute ago.
That was harsh,
Have you got
wasn't
it?
it? I mean, maybe he could have done a bit more, sure, but fuck me, this thing's been off 500 days.
So Bo Morgan got 14 days for effectively a non-trial. If you watch it, I thought it was a bit hard.
I have an interesting take on this. Go on.
Well, hang on, the horse was off 500 days, couple of runs, off another 100 days, had its wind done early on in its
think
career,
we've all seen it, Steph, so-
always wanted a tongue tie.
We'll edit it in.
I mean, he's clearly not the most straightforward horse. He's clearly got issues. He's 25-1 or whatever he is. He's hunted round out the back, turning in there's still 10 horses on the bridle. They've gone no gallop. And then, sure, he's one of the last off the bridle. He was beaten 19 lengths. He's not exactly passing
only thing I
horses.
say,
I think it's harsh. They should have had a chat with him, and he could have looked like he was doing more. But
If you watch
me.
all the racing, Matt racing that we do, you'd see that quite often on a regular basis. But
100%.
you know,
he could have done a bit more.
yeah, a lot more.
So, did Bo Morgan then go out there on this horse of Ollie Murphy's and decide that all of his own bat, that he is the only one he's going to not try a 25-1 shot? For what reason?
But
You're
99.
asking for what reason would he do that?
Yeah, why? He's 25-1 shot. Of his own accord now, Ollie Murphy has nothing to do with it. He also owns the horse. But where in this?
Oh, so you think Ollie should be
No, well,
held accountable as well?
When you think about it, Ruby,
How is Bo Morgan completely on his own here? That he has acted completely independently? That he's all on his own in this?
if 9 times out of 10, if a horse is normally held up and then suddenly he bounces out and starts making the running. The jockey hasn't just sided down the start without telling their another trainer, look, we're going to try bouncing this out, because you're told to do it. If you're told to keep hold of this horse's head all the way and it ends up, you get yourself into an impossible position where you can't win and it starts running off you and you run on through. You didn't do that yourself.
But also, if you were to punish trainers, and sometimes they stop horses from running if it's a non-trial, so I imagine he's probably not allowed to run for...
No, I don't care. No,
Really? Isn't it?
No, the horse is fine. It's just Bo's got 14 days for not achieving the
If
best
you were
possible finishing position.
If you were to punish trainers or owners, then I'd say it would stop a lot of, not that there's loads, but it would stop a lot more non-triers from being around than there are. If you were to say a trainer can't have a runner for 2 weeks, if he's found guilty of a non-trier, would you agree?
Yeah, just to me, I just don't see how did this, I don't know Bo Morgan from Adam, but how does he walk out in Bangor yesterday and decide on a 25 to 1 shot, I'm going to lock this up all on my own?
Yeah. Well, he doesn't, is the answer. I mean, he doesn't. Unless he's a total maverick.
I think it's clear he hasn't.
Yeah.
But you look at the profile of the horse. Like he's had 4 runs in 2 years. Like it's pretty obvious. He's been told, look, hunt it round at the back, see where we are. He's never going to go fucking win the race. That horse at no point in that race is going to go and win that race.
It's changed ownership twice in the last 6 months. It's now running Oliver
For
Murphy.
Ollie, yes.
McNeil?
I'm assuming
It was, yeah.
Oliver Murphy is Ollie Murphy.
He is, yeah.
So he's a horse of his own. So what benefit is there to Ollie Murphy
Yeah.
in even hunting this around at the back?
Good point. I'm not going to knock him. He invited me to Villa to watch Palace.
Are you going to the football with him?
No, I did.
Oh, you went? Oh, right. We can slag him off now, then.
We beat him.
I'm not knocking him. To me,
No, I know. And also, we're not saying whether it was a non-trial or not. We're just saying
where's the logic?
punishment.
I'm backing you up. Where's the logic? This doesn't screen non-trial.
No, I agree. I think we're all in...
Yeah, and it's
But you've
25
got to go
points.
to the
Do
corner.
something on it.
Yeah. He could.
Delicious.
It is.
Like in this,
Did you see the one the other day with
once written.
I don't think it was any different to Derek Fox on the hoist and Road.
Harry Skelton at Chepstow the other day? I was down there and he finished second on a horse mare that had won only 2 bumpers in its first run over hurdles, and because he never hit her, that they were all going crazy. And it wouldn't have, you could have beaten that horse within an inch of its life and it wouldn't have won.
Right.
But they were going crazy. He pushed her out, literally, he didn't even drop his hands. He pushed the horse out, hands and heels. But then people were going mad. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it that people aren't allowed to hit a horse. Oh, that's cool. That was awful. I think they went mad when Valgrand, he hit the horse after the line almost.
Yeah.
And yet, the 2 weeks
I know,
afterwards, how can you win?
Did you get punters lynch you? No, genuinely, did you? Because I heard Harry got Weatherby the day before the Charlie Hall. He got beat on a horse who had a breathing issue or bled or something, and he was 1-3, and punters were giving him
The one thing I used to say to them all the time, they'd come back in, they were going, I couldn't, when they said, you'll use this, you're probably hungover, I couldn't really say anything, but then they said, you can't ride, and I said, I don't give a monkey. I said, I back the winner. And then if they, they wanted that.
Llewellyn used to always say that. Just fucking tell him, you just tell him. He said, what, not back the winner.
Oh, you imagine them going, So, do you remember the jockey Barry Wright?
Yeah.
Well, he rode Prideaux Boy and those horses. So someone said the exact same to him, came and said, you useless you are. Anyway, got off and hit him.
No way.
Yeah, jumped off and hit him.
Did he get banned for it or something?
No, I think they bought him a drink.
Different tracks, different crowds.
Yeah. Did you get...
loads.
Been around many losers, but...
And that was just off Willie.
Loads. Down Patrick. Jesus Christ, he could be firing points at your ear.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
People used to think he was jumping off at the last on purpose. There were genuinely people going. There were people going. There were people going. Oh, there's another favourite at the last. Tell you what, this is dodgy.
That would have fried me. I remember that. Because you fell off a few at the last, right? As in, not in...
Fell off is probably quite
unseated or whatever. No, but there was a...
The horse fell.
You were unseated or fell at the last.
I think this is the end of the podcast.
The rest of them fucking fell.
They fell, yeah.
The horses fell. But there was a period, there was like a sequence
Get
of
it
like
right, he wrestled them to the ground.
2 months where there was a few.
You threw a tired horse at the last.
It was variance, right? And it would just all happen at once. But that must have, mentally, I know you've spoken about it a lot, but mentally you've got to have fucking thick skin to deal with that.
Yeah, but you look at every fall individually. So different horses, I don't know, Annie Power, she grabbed. Benny the Jew, 2 years later, she was tired. fell over in a heap. Adamant approach, kept going. He fell at the last in Cheltenham, just galloped on and.
You never changed what you did as well. It'd be like a penalty taker missing Harry Kane missing 2 or 3 penalties in a row. He'd still hit the ball the same. You did the same at every.
Yeah, there's no
fence.
change. Like, what else fell? Royal Caviar galloped on at the last fence in Leopardstown, turned over. Fell off Val Sarlido, all right. He nodded and fell out over his arse.
It's good you remember every single one. Clearly moved on. Clearly over it, yeah.
We've got 3 now.
I can go through winners the same way. You look at them and you think, like, what did I do? To me, I just rode them all the same way.
Somebody said they had
walked on the vast majority.
Somebody said to me they had a theory on it, and that was that your style of riding meant it looked like the horse had a lot more left to the viewer than it did, and they could have been more tired than it first seemed. That's probably biased.
Yeah, but I rode in my legs, so I'd have been squeezing the heart out. That sounds great, doesn't it? But I rode in my legs, so. But ultimately, and I think that's what sectional times are starting to prove, on the flat and especially over jumps. Like, people say, like, oh, it's so crude, hit a horse to make it go faster. We never did. Horses were always flat out by the time we used the whip anyway. All you were trying then was to keep encouraging the horse not to slow down. So actually, when jockeys...
So it was a reminder, basically, just keep going.
It's to keep, same as someone standing in the gym behind you when you've
Personal trainer.
2 press-ups left. Come on, get the last 2. And you dig in and you do the last 2. There's no one standing behind you, you've done 8 and you think, oh, fuck this.
Yeah, and that's what I did.
That's a good way. That's a good way. I like that. That's a good way of putting it.
So that's
it's like a personal trainer stood behind you, just getting a last couple at you.
That's what it is. But again, you can explain that to someone who wants to listen, and there's people who will not want to hear you, so there's no point in explaining it to them. But to me, when I was physically having to move on a horse, it was flat out and was starting to get tired.
As horsemen, if they got rid of the whip, would you think that's a terrible decision?
Well, it'd benefit the better jockeys, wouldn't it? Because they'd be stronger. You know, you see now. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't particularly keen on the whip rules being changed. I think they've worked. When I was riding RB upsize McCoy, neither of us had sticks. He's going to beat me. He's going to stuff me. He's fitter than me. He's better than me. You know, and so
Optically, I think it is better now.
I think it's changed racing considerably. I would never in favour of the number. Still not in favour of the number. I think, to me, 1 can be too many, and 7 at certain times isn't enough.
I agree, but
so that's why I always felt.
It's also just an arbitrary figure as well. Right?
That's why I always felt against the number. But that's neither here nor there. It is, but it has made riders tactically better because they only have a certain number. They now don't commit as early as they did.
no.
They don't, and as even you watched them. I can remember watching Turn on Top of the Hill and Cheltenham. Mackay pick it out in one of Pipey's, send it off the top of the hill, and pretend to be going by the third last and be after giving it 2. You wouldn't do that now because you can't keep them going long enough anymore.
What's
so
the
have
thing
to
you
time
rode in
your
a bump
challenge.
of gold, and he hates it if you bring that up. Thing you got beat, he kicked on for the top.
Golden
there.
Alpha.
Yeah.
He hates
desperate,
it.
desperate ride. I keep on. That was one of the worst rides at Cheltenham.
I love bringing that out. I love it.
But he still won't have it. He gets really narky.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah,
Golden
yeah.
Alpha.
Yeah.
I mentioned that to him this weekend. I was just in the back of the bump.
We were just doing some
some of the worst
filming
rides
with
at Cheltenham.
Luke and Ruby.
What
and
ideally,
said
you're
you gave
right
this
there.
horse a peach golden
As
Alpha.
soon as they mention him giving on a stinker, their grins just go from into it.
Bridgie on Escada Fig and things going down the hill
But
shooting on.
they were just before my time. I didn't ride much with Bridgie, but it was just a different era.
Yeah.
So you did send them, but they sent them off the top of the hill, and that was it.
But in those days as well, certain trainers thought that they got their horses fitter than other trainers.
It's fairness.
Really?
Yeah, and so
Imagine Nichols probably has that view now.
No, so everyone. Pipey changed it, and to be fair to Nichols, and I was riding for Nichols at the time, and would have travelled with him a lot. But even though they didn't get on, Nichols was always adamant that Pipe changed racing for the better.
Really?
Yeah, always. In fairness to
I'm
him.
surprised he'd
He did.
say
Always
that,
said
actually.
he got his horses fitter. He was riding for David Barron, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was riding for David Barron, and he'd be standing in the parade looking at his horse and looking at Pipes. And he said, one looked like an athlete and one looked like a cart horse. He said they were just so much fitter.
Wow.
And
So he revolutionised it.
yeah, and Nick Paul, in fairness to him, always maintained that Pipe just got them fitter and knew how to do it. and revolutionised it.
There was a period where Nichols was really going like that, and him and Pipey they didn't like each other, did
But
they?
that's the same with everything, isn't it? Whatever industry you're in. Yeah.
But he hates Willie Mullins.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Well said, yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's card 3. Tell Ruby Willie's a prick. It's not on the card, by the way.
It's all Willie Mullins.
Irish domination, actually, it's sort of.
It is Irish domination. But what about, say, like when I was riding for Nichols and Mackay was riding Pipies and John Joe was flying?
That was a great era. Loved that.
But we
era.
didn't call it English domination
But the reason for that is because
because it was English domination and you didn't give a fuck.
the reason for that is because it was the Cheltenham Festival. There's much more of a territorial feel, right, when it's the Cheltenham Festival and the Irish are coming over and dominating.
But then we used to go over there with
it's just natural.
Best Mate, the listener, I'm trying to think of others.
Carlos
Gone over there.
Yeah, but not on the same level. But yeah,
Wow,
you go
it was a
over.
race,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
The
When he-
first 5
Barnbrook again won the Ladbroke, didn't he?
Look at him.
all UK.
Forgive and forget.
It was just
John
niche
Allen,
market. wasn't it?
Play School. Nick
Bob
DeBrief.
Butler.
Yeah, that is it.
We only had
He had
Carrington.
the listeners. Yeah.
You took him off us then.
Yeah, no, you'd have been over a lot for Nichols.
This is
wouldn't you?
100
Back
years of
over.
pain, getting back at you.
My final card was a very snazzy cards.
Yeah, they're nice.
It kind of ties in with the last hurdle thing. I spoke to you briefly about it.
You're going to keep on.
Sorry, yeah.
Can you not talk about Golden Alpha? Not him.
No. Did you ever feel in your career that you had a point to prove, and was there a winner?
Loads, yeah. She's going back to Cheltenham one is what year was it?
Black Hercules, 20.
Yeah,
No, it wasn't him.
that was my greatest.
I was coming back. Hurricane Fly won his first champion hurdle. And I didn't know if I'd get back on him. I'd been out for a long time. Paul had ridden him a lot. And
What, you thought they wouldn't put you back on?
Oh, I was always hoping I would, but the media wanted Paul riding him. A lot of people were questioning Paul Nichols, but put me back on Alpha Off. Willie Mullins were putting me back on Hurricane Fly and obviously Q-Viga. But I won an Alpha Off, got back up to beat Spirit Sun.
In the Supreme. That's, I think, your greatest Cheltenham run.
I think I had ridden one winner in 6 months before I rode him.
No way.
That takes some doing to do.
I would have broke. I know what was broken. I was out for a long time anyhow. And I remember going by the line that day thinking,
I'm back.
Joe Tizard, Q Card, Sprinter Sacra, AP, Barry, go by the line thinking every fuck up there in the press room with a pen.
It's good Supreme, that.
Proper Supreme.
Yeah.
That's magic, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think that when you cross the line?
Yeah. What are you going to write now, dickhead?
Unreal.
Yeah.
And then it all kicked on.
I remember you were chippy about Hurricane Fly with me once. One of the first times I interviewed you.
Just left his strong
So
It's obviously festering down there, wasn't
He's been
it?
waiting years.
I was quite newish on the scene, and I think did they Hurricane Fly ran over 3 miles, right? Did they put him up in trip?
He ran the French champion hurdle.
Was that it? And there was talk about coming into the new season, he was going to go up in trip. Anyway, I asked you about it, and I was like, "You're going over 3 miles of Hurricane Fly, is it just a bit of a fact-finding mission?" And you were like, "If you're on a fact-finding mission with a 10-year-old, then I think you've got a problem." And I was like, "Okay, Mr. Walsh, I'm really sorry to ask you that stupid question." Yeah, not that one.
Not quite as good as Do You Wish You Rode Denman? That was iconic.
Shouldn't have answered him. Shouldn't have went out. It was stupid.
Yeah, it was.
I know you're not happy with how you reacted in that.
Shouldn't have gone out. Thought you were doing the right thing. Try and go out, show your face to be a good loser. Even though there's no such thing as a good loser.
Yeah.
You can turn around and smile and shake hands. But like,
What's that saying? A good loser.
I don't know. I don't want to whether I should admit to this, but when you fell on Annie Power, Richard Willoughby, our esteemed editor, said to me, he said, "Luke, just go and have a word with Ruby and just see, what his thoughts are." And I went, went back to him, like, left it for him and said, "No, he didn't want to talk."
I do that all the time. I do it all the time.
I thought, sod that. I mean, what are you going to go? Oh, Ruby, you know, what happened there
He
then?
thought the horse ran great.
Because people are in your ear in the gallery of the truck, and they
But I
obviously
left it-
can't see
I left
you.
it enough time. No, no, didn't want it.
He's not. Yeah. Or he'll walk past you, and you look at me. I've not seen him. Must have come back. Come around the back. Don't know. Yeah, not a chance.
The worst job in the world.
Shouldn't
that.
have went out.
But I'll tell you what is good, the jockeys now, the beaten jockeys, when we come back and say at Cheltenham, say, people, you're not trying to,
Yeah.
do it
You can say as little or as much as you want. There's the
But
mic,
people that
up to you.
are very good now. They do,
Yeah.
even when they've had an absolute shock or something's gone wrong.
Yeah, I don't do Ryan.
Why was as bad? I walked back in. Chapman was doing them in Cheltenham. They were only there once. I rode Faheen in the champion hurling. So I'm walking back in. Chapman is standing there. Faheen. I said, "Yeah, the fucking cheek pieces worked, didn't they?"
On the mic.
Yeah,
They can't play that.
He was roaring that, Faheen wants cheek pieces, Faheen wants cheek pieces. I need to put fucking cheek pieces of Faheen. I walk in, Chapman is standing and say, "Yeah, the fucking cheek pieces worked, didn't they?"
Yeah, he says, but you can't play that. Yeah. Just remind me of your tip for Cheltenham.
What's it called? Thanks for
the help.
Thanks
Thanks for the help.
In the forecast with Noble Bird.
Imagine.
Yeah, I'll go Imagine because the other one's even money. Yeah, Imagine in the Paddy Power.
And I like Il Ridoto. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thanks to everyone for all these biscuits that we haven't eaten, apart from Ruby. Thank you. I've thoroughly enjoyed that.
Seeing as it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I am up since 4 o'clock.
I know, yeah. We'll
I
get you
wasn't
home.
tight to
Don't
eat
worry.
something.
Laura will drop you home, don't worry. Princess. Thanks, lads.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, I love you later.
Yeah, we'll have a pint.